Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our second top story of the day, this was something that I really wanted to hone in on because this is something that we as a channel and those who participate on the BuzWeaver channel across all social media, this is a topic that we talk about often. Not with this level of specificity, but it is a topic that we have talked about before. And that is that the left and Democrats have a tendency to demonstrate in data, in studies, in research that we have talked about here on the channel, that they have a tendency to speak with psychologists or psychiatrists because of mental health or other stress issue disorders. Now, please understand, the purpose of this is to illustrate that these spoiled brats who suffer from TDS, also known as Trump Derangement Syndrome, is the focus of my conversation, is the focus of my bias conservative point that I'm trying to make here. In no way am I trying to disparage, insult, or mock those who suffer from actual mental health disorders. Now, among those studies, we have talked about this quite often. It does not imply or suggest that everyone on the left and or Democrats suffer from mental health disorder, and may be fair to say that these individuals are ones who typically go to or are willing to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist because of their mental health issues. All right, so we started off from the Daily Beast. And remember, this is the Daily Beast, a very left-leaning article. And of course, so be mindful of the wording that we will be reading from. Your brain on Trump. DC psychologist sees uptick in Democrat patients. The rapid fire of media coverage of these policy changes is just adding to the broader collective stress, one expert told Axios. From Sean Craig. All right, Sean. President Donald Trump's sweeping first weeks in office have seen military threats issued against Greenland and Panama. A gaggle of teams led by Elon Musk infiltrated the systems of multiple federal bureaucracies, refugee flights canceled, and the start of mass deportation raids, and the erosion of transgender rights. The general consensus, the breakneck speed of change, has been disquieting for many Americans. I think we can take so much of something before the human brain, just like Peter's, out and says, I can't keep up. Sanam Hafez, a New York-based neuropsychologist, told Axios, the digital news site interview. Okay, so, well, I can tell you, as a person who covers these types of topics, as a conservative, that would be a constitutional founding fathers Bill of Rights conservative, that the way I deal with a lot of this is just to pace myself, because you can imagine that across the different various social media that I belong to, which you can find down below this video if you want to find my other links there. And I'm seeing more and more of the left responding to a lot of these videos. And I think it's just a way for them to kick the dog, as it were, to find some outlet for their rage, some outlet for their anger. And of course, some of my classmates that I went to school with that are on the left, some have just completely unfriended. One of the teachers that I had, an excellent English teacher, Dr. Well, I won't mention his name, but he has a Ph.D. There in education. Great guy. And he too is, and in many of these I see them say they're going to leave social media, but it's a matter of pacing yourself, because you're going to see a lot of people that disagree with you, and that's just the way it is. People just disagree, and that's what human beings do. So I find this fascinating, because what we were just talking about here, we have Caitlin Collins from CNN has commented that reporters find it challenging to match Donald Trump's level of energy.
So you're doing this every day. You're in D.C.
Yes.
The pace of the Trump administration seems to be moving pretty quickly. How are you holding up?
It is insane. And I think everyone is kind of like readjusting and re-remembering what it was like 4 years ago, 4 years ago. I remember when Biden first took office in January, the New York Times wrote the story about how quiet the weekends were, because for reporters, every weekend had just been like it was like a 7-day work week. And now we're back to that, basically, where it's just essentially nonstop every day. You kind of wake up like not knowing what you're going to be doing, what the schedule is. I was walking to get breakfast one day this week. I was like, okay, I'm going to have a nice little breakfast before I go to work. And halfway there, they were like, Trump's doing a press conference in an hour. And I physically ran back home so I could change and get.
And there you have it. You know, I mean, Trump is working at breakneck speed. There's so much that he wants to do, so much that he wants to accomplish, so much that he learned from the previous administration, and that's because he tried to compromise with the establishment. And you cannot do that. You cannot compromise with Democrats, or more specifically, you can't make a deal where you say, if I do this, then you do that, because they'll just break the deal. If for some reason they feel as though they don't have complete and total control over the situation, now they will do a scratch my back, I'll scratch yours scenario. But when it comes to Donald Trump, he's a populist, right? He doesn't play the political game. He has an agenda, he has a focus, he has a direction, and he wants to accomplish that goal. And as we have talked about here on the BuzWeaver channel before, that's really not the way government works. There's a lot of quid pro quo in government, right? You help me pass this bill, I'll help you pass that bill. And it's kind of these, alternating favors between the two. And, of course, they hold these over each other's heads, and is another reason why they like to put each other in compromising situations or circumstances so that they can use those against each other to suggest that, hey, if you don't do this, then I'm going to expose that. And it's just this stupid, what do they call it? Like a Game of Thrones, right? That whole power struggle that goes on there. Who can maintain control? And we saw that even within the Establishment Uni-party. And so we have here Charlie Kirk rings in on the situation.
Mental health experts see a massive increase in despair and burnout. Axios, which is a mainstream media regime operation, has published an article claiming that mental health experts are seeing massive increase in patients who are Democrat voters complaining of despair and burnout in the wake of President Trump's winning the election and taking office for the second time.
Now, I want to point out here, as I was saying earlier, this outline, this video, is not to go after people with genuine mental health disorders. This is specifically those insufferable human-grown children that can't stand the fact that now, after they had been coddled by the establishment and protected by Democrats, when they've been out rioting or demonstrating and all the things that they do, screaming, trying to shut everybody down who doesn't agree with them on social media. Woo, how many times have we talked about that on the BuzWeaver channel? And even going after individuals like Melania Trump, like Barron Trump, shutting down their bank accounts, right? And that's Melania and Barron. And, of course, we already know they shut down Enrique Tarrios and Laura Loomer, as well as Joe Biggs. And then, of course, they arrested Roger Stone, and then they went after Steve Bannon and Navarro. So these are the people I'm talking about. And this is them right here.
The piece claims that worn-out whiners are whining so much about not being able to keep up with President Trump's shock and awe and rapid-fire policies. The article notes, quote, mental health professionals say even people who don't see themselves as directly affected by the administration actions are feeling frazzled by the dizzying pace and Trump's enduring ability to command attention. Quote,
Donald Trump is a machine. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is a machine. He is the classic example of a type A overachiever. These kinds of people, like the astronauts, for example, when they talk about the best of the best of the best, these are the guys they're talking about. And these individuals are on a whole other frequency. They're on a whole other level. And they just look at the world and they think about things in ways that many of us don't. And this terrifies many people, especially the Democrats, because all of us like to know what's going to happen, right? We like predictability. We like consistency. We like patterns. We like assuredness. And individuals like Donald Trump are constantly moving forward. They're constantly looking at everything and doing things to try to make things better. In his case, I'm glad we have someone like Donald Trump in office. But it's not limited to Donald Trump. I would say you don't become president by accident. It's not luck, and you don't win a lottery. It's a very complicated thing. And the office is often held by very unique people, whether or not we agree with them or disagree with them or not, even with someone like Joe Biden. These aren't ordinary people.
They may feel it through the venting of a spouse, the distress of a neighbor with a trans child, or an anxious friend who works for a government contractor. Andrea Bonois, a Georgetown University psychology professor, says, quote, she said she's seen an uptick in patients, particularly Democrats, expressing a sense of burnout, guilt, and despair at losing an old way of life. Bonois writes, she pointed to federal workers who aren't sure if they'll be let go, as others are concerned about their immigration status or worried about loved ones whose refugee flights were canceled.
Exactly. And as we talked about, a lot of it is alarmism. A lot of it, as we saw, sadly, with Maxine Waters outside of the Department of Education. You know, here's a woman who says that IDs are racist, yet she's telling this gentleman that works for the federal government to produce an ID. So as we've always said here on the BuzWeaver channel, the Democrats don't hold themselves to the same standards that they hold everyone else, right? And so, you know, the rules are for thee, not for me kind of mindset. Also wanted to point out real quick here in the article we covered earlier today, NBC obtained screenshots of the email from a recipient who requested anonymity out of fear of reprisal. But then when it comes to Doge, as we were just talking about, this particular journalist had no problem doxing the individuals, as you remember, big balls, as they call them as well, on CNN and other news agencies. Some of them wouldn't say big balls because, of course, they perceived it as being obnoxious and juvenile. But the point being is that where's all the level of protection for these individuals? Because I think it's two of the particular Doge people were doxxed. Big balls. Doge guy 19 is now a senior advisor in State Department. And I find it funny. I made a meme about it. I don't know if you guys saw it, where I said non-government expert finds taxpayer abuse and corruption by government experts. So I thought that was kind of funny. But here, the Daily Beast, it was actually archived. They wanted you to pay to read the article. But so I just found it fascinating, right, that they have no problems finding people who want to be protected with anonymity. But yet when it comes to individuals that work for Elon Musk and Doge, these people are doxxed, straight up doxxed. Musk's teen Doge minions was once fired for leaking secrets. And, of course, they just want to talk about how unresponsible these people can be with all of this protected information. I mean, what are they going to do? You think Elon Musk needs anybody's social security number to try to rip somebody off? A billionaire, as they always like to say, millionaire, billionaire, wealthy, this, that, and the other. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I know it can be dizzying. And as I said, I try to pace myself when it comes to a lot of this because it can be overwhelming. And people argue many points, even my family members, because as I've mentioned to you, my mother is Panamanian, and I have many family members that are in Panama. And, of course, with the whole deal with the canal and all these things, you know, I have family members that push back, and I have family members that agree with Donald Trump and family members who don't like Donald Trump. So I hear that even from family. So so I understand what these individuals are going through. But at the same time, as we talked about for the last 4 years, what we all experienced under Joe Biden. I mean, these were things that we could all see and feel tangibly, right? When it came to Joe Biden for the left, it was ideological, right? Because they didn't seem very concerned about grocery prices and gas prices and the amount of money we would spend just to take care of ourselves or our families and, you know, daily expenses. To them, I guess they thought they were sticking it to Putin or whatever. But now all of a sudden they realize that prices are high and they want to just mock Trump. And this is like his 21st day, I think, in office. But ladies and gentlemen, wow, where have we come so far in just 22 or 21 days here? Absolutely amazing. And the left are already getting burned out. The Democrats are already going through their suffering. And, wow, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Don't you think that Trump is working at breakneck speed? It is absolutely amazing. I am so happy. I am very much, you guys already know this. I'm looking forward to what Pam Bondi's going to do in New York. I think she should pursue them for prosecutorial misconduct. They should pursue them for civil rights violations. And the other one, I think they call it rights of conspiracy, conspiracy of rights. And that is when one or more parties tries to go after someone, which is what they were doing to Donald Trump. So I'm looking forward to what Pam Bondi's going to do. And, of course, I've heard some good news today about Kash Patel. So Lots of great things that are happening. And man, we've got 4 years of this, and I am looking forward to it. But nonetheless, guys, below this video, as I mentioned earlier, you can find the various social media links that I belong to. If you order frequently from Amazon or a Amazon Prime member, by all means, you can use my landing page link. That way, when you place your orders or watch movies and TV shows, things like that, I get a little bit of credit and your privacy is protected. And speaking of privacy, if you want privacy online, you can use Trust Zone, which is one of my favorites, VPN, Virtual Private Network. But of course, your likes, your shares, and your comment help out the channel. And if you feel so obligated, of course, I also have a donation button if you are not making any purchases and just want to help out the channel here in 2025. But I want to thank all you guys for your continued support across all new tech, Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. And of course, appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube, of course. And select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. It includes shorts as well as community posts. And I will see all you guys in the next video.